Also, new news on naked body scanners. I promise I will get to all of that. More on Facebook, everybody else spying on the public. More on Libya, more geopolitical developments. I want to give the number out, the toll-free number to join us. We're going to start on your calls right at the start of the next segment in about 5 minutes. 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. But don't touch that dial yet. I want to give first-time callers a chance today to be who gets on. First-time callers and Skype phones and stuff are getting so bad. We don't censor calls or screen them, but if we can't really understand you, we're not going to be able to have you on, so please have a good phone. I want to hear from you. I want people to hear you. 877-789-2539, 877-789-2539, or 877-789-ALEX. Now, you may think I'm extreme, that folks shouldn't go to jail for $2 bills that are legal, or for silver dollars, or that you're not a terrorist if you're Amish and selling milk to your neighbors. Imagine all the corruption and all the police resources, with Mexico a failed state, now over 30,000 murders in the last few years, total bedlam, U.S. crime rate exploding, kidnapping, murder, bank robberies, white-collar crime, just wild, foreign banks looting everything, government drug dealing run amok, major banks laundering drug money and running the aircraft publicly. Nobody gets in trouble. But they got unlimited resources for Girl Scouts selling cookies on the street corner to shut them down all over the country. Kids selling lemonade, shutting them down all over the country. People with gardens, got to be inspected, might be growing something illegal. I mean, just the essence of corruption, the essence of living under oppression. And it makes my blood boil because I know history. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And the system is busy spending its time going after the Amish and going after Bernard von Nothaus, facing all these years in prison, something he did publicly, totally illegal. I've read the U.S. Code. A 2-year-old could tell what it meant. Counterfeiting is printing up fake Federal Reserve notes that I guess is a copy of a copy, because it's fake. A counterfeit of a counterfeit. What is that? Multi-generational, low-res counterfeit. And that's what they convicted him of, counterfeiting. They say it's terrorism. They're going to infiltrate and stop these anti-government groups. The government, a wholly owned, foreign bank-owned subsidiary. Also, I want to get into royal family censorship. You know, they're part of the government. They're the second side of the British government. They get government money. And when the Australian ABC, Australian Broadcasting Company, was going to have one feed with commentators with lighthearted jokes, some of them about Philip being a Nazi. I don't think that's lighthearted. It's true. It's not even funny. And big buddies with Hitler, of course, 90 years old now. And here's Philip right here. They said, okay, you can't carry the feed. And they ordered Fox, AP, and all the other feeds that were there to not give them a feed. A government pool camera feed of a government event fed by BBC, and you can't have it, Australia. So Australia backed down and said, okay, we won't allow anybody to talk bad about you. Oh, but they don't have any power. They can suspend parliaments. Diego Garcia, the island, kicking the tens of thousands of natives off to give it to the U.S. for a base. Yeah, but the Queen, you know, she ordered it, but she doesn't have any power. She just suspended the parliament in Canada the last 3 years in a row because Harper was going to be removed. That's not power. Absolute leader. Taxpayer funded. I thought that was pretty amazing. And coming up, nuclear advisor to Japanese president resigns over radiation levels, says that they've been told to lie to the public about the radiation and let schools stay open nearby. I've talked a lot about that. Just a few miles away, little kids are out there playing recess in radiation that'll kill them better than a hammer in the next few years, if not sooner. But, hey, why not lie? It's the government. It's their prerogative. You know, and you're an extremist if you don't like it. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Okay, we'll try another call. Kevin and Mass, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. How are you doing today?
Good. Go ahead.
Just a couple quick points here. Are we still Al-Qaeda, where we used to be bad and now we're good, and we're not sure which Al-Qaeda we are anymore?
Well, yeah, no, that's the point, is they said in the federal case with the silver dollars that he is a domestic Al-Qaeda. And they're also basically saying the Amish are domestic al-Qaeda for selling milk that's totally legal. So the feds just sold it across state lines to claim it was interstate commerce crime. And basically, look, we got 2 years ago the Internal Homeland Security MIAC reports. We got them, and what do they tell us? Over 90% of all federal spending and surveillance is for gun owners, conservatives, returning veterans, farmers, landowners. Anybody who isn't basically on welfare and totally under their control is an enemy. The criminals are scared of anybody that could ever potentially resist them. Go ahead.
Okay, so good. I'm glad I'm still an enemy. I'm right there with you, brother. Here's a quick story for you. It's probably about 14 years ago. My son and one of his friends, they set up a bait stand. And we got the letter from the town of the town I live in, Wilmington, to close the bait stand down because it was illegal. And, I mean, this goes on what you're saying about the lemonade stands and everything else like that. This was like I say, 12, 13, 14 years ago they were starting that.
Well, you notice what the illegals do, driving all these taco trucks around that, by the way, have usually got pretty good food. They just drive around mobily, and plus government admittedly kind of leaves them alone because that's a group they want politically to vote for gun control and a group that they use to drive down overall wages. I don't blame them wanting a better life, but 800-plus cities are sanctuary cities, and that's why they're shutting down all over the country. Little girls selling Girl Scout cookies, little kids with lemonade stands, people selling tomatoes on the side of the road or jam. It's for your safety that they have to make sure there's no grassroots economy. You got to buy everything from Walmart. Everything's got to be a good Chinese slave good, dripping with lead, arsenic, and mercury.
I know it's my safety. I'm so glad we have these people. Just a couple quick more points. Have you ever seen the trial of Billy Jack, Alex?
No, I haven't.
Check it out. It goes back and talks about the Orwellian nightmare back in the 70s. It's pretty cool. Also, a couple other things. Tell your family I appreciate all they do because they give you up for a lot of time. I know how busy you must be, so tell your wife, your mom, your dad, your kids, everybody. I thank them. And also tell Ted Anderson to keep up the great deals that he puts out there with Minus Resources, and I'll let you go so you can take another call.
All right, thank you, Kevin. And I know why Limbaugh did this 20 years ago, and we do have to do it. I want to say I appreciate you, the listeners, people that understand liberty and freedom and are standing up for all the values that made us great. But, folks, you don't need to thank me, okay? This is a survival issue. We don't have a future if we don't stand up. I'm not doing something extraordinary. It's just that most people aren't doing their duty. I'm doing what is demanded, what I must do. I will not be a slave. And I'm sorry to those other two great callers. I wanted to hear what you had to say. We were having some type of phone problem glitch. If you can get back in, we'd love to hear from you, 877-789-2539. I wanted to hear from that evil veteran that the Pentagon's internal documents say is their #1 terror threat that's got to be dealt with by the patriotic government. Let's talk to Jacob in Wisconsin. Jacob, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, how's it going? I'm
Good.
a huge fan.
Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to ask you a question. Why didn't you cover Raymond Davis, the CIA agent in, Pakistan?
Raymond Davis, the CIA agent in Pakistan. Sir, I'm not omnipresent. Tell me about it.
Well, Raymond Davis, he shot the guy in the back, the CIA agent, the diplomat.
I'm going to have to pull it up. I mean, I missed it. I mean, just last week, Sky Television.
I know how you were saying, like, it's just so crazy. The news is just coming in, and you're having problems covering it all, you know? So, I mean, Raymond Davis, CIA, like Obama was saying, oh, yeah, he's a diplomat. He's not a CIA agent.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I just forgot the name. Yeah, he was the CIA guy doing surveillance, running around. And then when he got caught, they said he was a diplomat. And then they claimed he was not really CIA. He was just someone who protected diplomats.
Right. Right. And then another thing, John McCain, wasn't he just in Libya? Do you think he could have brought the Viagra himself?
All right, I appreciate your call. For those that just joined us, NBC has had to admit the State Department has said that there is no truth to Gaddafi and the rape gangs and fueling it with Viagra. What they do is they come up with something that just sounds so horrible that you'll then support the war. It's called demonization. And remember, they said the North Vietnamese attacked the ships at Gulf of Tonkin. Didn't happen. It's called waving the bloody shirt. They said that Saddam's people were throwing babies out of incubators and stomping their brains out. They weren't stealing incubators. They weren't throwing babies out. They weren't stomping their brains out. I'm not saying that Saddam people were good. The point is we were lied to. They keep saying, we're not trying to kill Gaddafi. Gaddafi, no need to hide. We don't want to kill you, because it's illegal to do that. Meanwhile, they're rocket attacking his houses, killing his family, and trying to kill him. I mean, it's, again, they just train us on a steady diet of lies. Yeah, the last caller, sometimes I hear a name and then it takes me a minute or two to place it. A month or so ago, it came out that they've got all these different CIA guys posing as working with the State Department, running around, surveilling people, shooting people. Others have been busted funding al-Qaeda, Taliban in Pakistan, in Afghanistan. And people go, well, explain this. I thought we're fighting Taliban and al-Qaeda. Don't you get it? That's how the empire invades new countries. They go finance and train people who are psychopaths, criminals, or sometimes actually know what they're doing to go out and carry out terror so that the globalists have a pretext to invade those countries. Just like they're using al-Qaeda now as the good guys to attack Gaddafi and admitting the core of the groups are, quote, U.S.-trained al-Qaeda. Anwar al-Awlaki, born in the U.S., runs all the major terror attacks. Number 2 under bin Laden. Washington Post says really number 1 now. Admittedly, is CIA, shuffles back and forth between Langley, Virginia, and the Pentagon and overseas. Headline, Anwar al-Awlaki dined at Pentagon, Fox News, while he was on the most wanted list. It's a joke. A SWAT, the head of the 7/7 bombings, London Telegraph, is MI6 being protected, ran the attacks. But, I mean, here's some from last week. BBC News, al-Qaeda assassin worked for MI6 secret cables claim. The latest WikiLeaks. And the British are saying, yeah, they're real. We're going to arrest whoever released these. I mean, folks, I know it's fun getting scared of guys with ugly beards. And, I mean, I think, those are some scraggly-looking Grizzly Adams beards. I wouldn't grow one, but there's plenty of hillbillies with them, too. I mean, we're going to get scared of them. And, guys with turbans on their heads. The globalists are over there because they want the $500 billion in opium and the oil. Here's a BBC one. Again, al-Qaeda assassin worked for MI6 secret cables claim. Here's another one. Al-Qaeda assassin worked for MI6 and carrying out bombings, running the main al-Qaeda force. The commanders are MI6, Mossad, CIA. Okay? And I've had the former head of Pakistani intelligence, who was called a big hero in the 80s, running these people, the Mujahideen, Hamid Gul, on 3 times. It's made international headlines when he comes on. And he'll tell you, the modern al-Qaeda is Western governments, period. Period. He said here, 6-8 months ago, that they would demand the drones be removed. They just did it last week. Okay, figure it out, folks. Remember over a decade ago, it made big news, the guy in Manhattan who owned all these shops that fixed windshields with the lowest prices, and his billboards were everywhere. And he had 3 guys that worked for him out of the hundreds that worked at all the shops around the town who would go out at night with ball-peen hammers and smash out windshields. They finally got caught. Al-Qaeda is the 3 guys working for the guy that owns the windshield shops out there knocking out windows. And if you can't figure that out, folks, you deserve what you get. Like Ron Paul said on the show a few months ago, he said, if you let the government stick their hands down your little kids' pants and grab their genitals, America, you deserve what you get. The good news is state legislatures are standing up because it's happening to state legislators and their wives. It's happened to U.S. congressmen where they start bossing them around, start groping their kids. The congressmen freak out. It's over, tyrants. You're going to lose. Oh, by the way, I said I'd get into naked body scanners. I remember when these were first developed by these companies and they couldn't get them in 12 years ago in New York, that they were body scanners for the ultimate fitting for women's clothing. That's in the news today, that they're going in all over the country. And watching CNN Saturday, I can't imagine what must be on there, because I turned it on and just saw the report, and I rarely watch it. They were saying how great it was that Americans wanted, not true, but they're telling you, you want the royal wedding, most of you didn't, that you want tyranny, that you love it. And they came out and they said, yes, the government's looking at it and the malls want it. Body scanners at the malls. if you believe in the fairy tale terrorist, folks, they would just bomb the parking lot. Oh, don't worry, we'll have a checkpoint on the highway. And then at your house,